quite a long time there, but you can see the Italian colours in the centre there. Eva Lechner getting away very well. She opted to take the centre position. The riders being introduced, the top 8 at the very end of call-up this year. So we have the top 8 coming out to the line at the very last moment, and they get to choose their start position. And it looks like Eva Lechner went for the centre, but as they come up towards, now she's moved over to her right. And it's now a fast-moving Milka rider, it looks coming through now from the Milka Trek team, trying to pick up the colours for it. Might be one of the Swiss girls going through. And a good field, and you can see just after here there is a steep climb, but they're going to move around to the right, just behind our commentary booth there and the satellite trucks. They will move around to their right. So the field sweeps around, and now the camera picks them up here. There is a double line option here. Most of them will go to their left, which is the B line, instead of going through the flat rock garden. There it is off to the left. Now to the right there you see the rock garden. That will be the compulsory route for the rest of the race. But for the start, as they go onto the big screen, there are 2 big screens here to keep the crowd entertained. But just there by the 2-3 sign there, you can see the rock garden in our foreground. That's where they'll be going for every other lap. But for the start loop, there is an option to go both, but you can see most are going the smoother route to the rider's left. Already a couple of riders getting hooked up there. But as I said, a good field of 56 riders. We had a test event here, more or less. It was a national race here last weekend, and the conditions were atrocious. It rained 33 millimetres for 3 days in a row, so more than 100 millimetres. And I guess in old school, that's about 4 inches of rain, and it was like a swamp here. We've got to replay the restart there. You see Eva Lechner there in the triple colours there of the Italian national jersey. And also trying to look there for the world champion, Maja Włoszowska, the CCC rider. She should be there in the world champions colours. She's a little bit back. She didn't have a great World Cup season at the end of last year, and is a little bit further back on the grid. You see her in position 14. And we have the Chinese riders back now. Ren Chengyuan is there as well. I can see her about midfield on your right of screen in the red Chinese national colours. And so it was plate number, it looks like Marie-Hélène Premont moving up there. So a good start by her. I was talking to her just before the start, and she wasn't here 2 years ago. She was studying her last years of pharmacology and wasn't able to come, so schooling was very intense that year. So let's try and pick up that number. Is it number 9? Yes, it is Natalie Schneider, the Swiss girl. So we did pick that up right in for the Colnago team, teammate of Eva Lechner. So it was Colnago 1-2 going through here. A very good start by the Italian team as they go through again through the start-finish. We'll pick that up very shortly, but they went straight past our start-finish area on the start loop. But as I said, a week ago, really difficult conditions, and it was Irena Kalentieva who won in the mud just 7 days ago. So once again, Natalie Schneider, the winner from Chomprix, she's now moving up and continuing with her lead. I can see it looks like Irena Kalentieva sitting in third now, and Marie-Hélène Premont, number 8, sitting there in third, and fourth through there going Lissy Ursel in the Austrian national jersey. Good ride there by Mary McConaughey to get up into the top 10. And this looks like one of the rider number 11 coming through there is Katerina Nash, one of the Luna Pro team. The Luna Pro team didn't ride here 2 years ago, opting to miss this race with the travel with Sea Otter Classic and so forth. So it's their first trip to South Africa. And they've just come from the Sea Otter Classic, an epic amount of travel there from the USA to be here ready to race. Do you think there's a big difference for the travel for the riders preparing for a race of this nature?
It's always so unusual. You want to talk about this first? And we'll
yeah, they're actually out of the seat here and attacking. This is through the second feed zone, and we've got a feed zone down near the start finish. And once again, riders out of the saddle get out of that sharp corner and move up. There's Lissy Ursel, the Austrian rider, previous World Cup overall champion, and it looks like Julie Bressett making a bit of a move there, or is it one of the Rabobank colours, trying to pick up that's the SR Sun Tour colours for this year. We've got to get to know all the team colours, but I think it is Julie Bressett sitting in there in second, plate number 12. Yes, it is. It's her posture. She's got quite an arch back while she rides. So the second place rider there is under 23 this season. So she was the big rival to Emily Batty last year, and Emily Batty now up into the elite ranks. And as you know, we have now under 23s racing separately, but the very top under 23 riders in the world are allowed to, the top 5 can choose whether or not they want to race elite or not. Well, Bressett definitely taking a nice pass there and choosing to race against the elite. Great little section here as they run down through the hairpins. Bressett making her move on the descent and getting ahead of Natalie Schneider, who I thought would have been quite strong in the descents given Chomprix. But
I think she actually got a bit tired on the climb. To me, it looked like she's obviously started fast, but she looked a bit blown at the top of that climb.
Yeah, she's definitely got more of a power rider's body build than a climber. So looks like she's definitely lost out a bit of ground there on Brissett, and the other riders have to watch now they don't get caught up behind Schneider, and Brissett gets a good psychological advantage, a gap there. You see Pendrell now looking for a way to get past the rider in front of her, which is Marie-Hélène Premont. And you don't want to be holding riders up here on the descent. Gaps will form here if the riders aren't confident going down through here and they've got the front wheel. So let's see who we can pick up there. That's plate number 5 going through. That's Esther Seuss, not the veteran of the field, but she's certainly one of the older ladies in the field, and she did very, very well last year. And she's been a former marathon world champion and current world champion actually in marathon. Races the Cape Epic, and she's 36 years of age, going through plate number 5 in the Swiss national champion's jersey. Sitting right behind her there is Katharina Nash, and she is a rider to watch here. So Ursel out of the seat and running. It seems a bit odd to be running there. She must have missed a gear or done something wrong in that low corner.
So. I don't think too much different preparation. I really feel like the first couple laps are so important in a World Cup, and holding that speed till the end. So yeah, 15 minutes shorter, I guess you can be happy. Maybe you don't have to go up the climb one last time, but I think it's still all about how fast you start.
Well, the French rider really taking it to the rest of the field now. She's got quite a good gap, and it's been a long time since we've seen an under-23 rider, male or female, at the front of a World Cup cross-country race. Really up there for a win. We'd have to go back to the days of Miguel Martinez and Cadel Evans when those two were tussling it out as under-23 riders at the front of the men's field, so back in the late 90s. And here we are 10 years later, and we have an under-23 rider, Julie Brissett, who was taken out by injury towards the end of last year. She'd already been dominant in the under-23s last year and was on quite a few World Cup podiums. I remember that she had at least 3 or 4 World Cup podiums last year. So doing very well. Obviously caught up a bit of ground there, the second place rider too. Here's the rock garden. Have a look at this. Very, very technical. You can imagine this in the rain last week. We saw quite a few falls in the under-23 men here today, and it looks like Irena Kalentieva wanting to take it to her now in the rock garden. Oh, having a little bit of a step up there. She's got to get out of the way of Natalie Schneider now. Doesn't want to balk her there on the rocks as Catherine Pendrell tries to find a gap, and it wasn't there. The door got shut. Esther Seuss handling it quite well. Lissy Ursel very nice on the inside there. So we'll stick with this shot. We'll probably watch quite a few of the riders come through here. Really tricky. You have to really focus on what's happening with your bike and just in front of you. You can't really look too far down the track, can you?
Yes, and really rooting for her all of a sudden. I'm like, oh, cool.
She
new winner. I like new winners.
She's a good little bike handler too.
She's great.
And in the French national colours, she is the national champion, despite being under 23. And great to see a young rider do so well, because typically our average age in the women's field is a little bit older than that. And
did I just see Ren go by?
in the red colours, could well be if Ren's moved up, because her races last year, she only did 1 from memory, and it wasn't that great. So there's Mary McConaughey sitting there on the back of it. Is it Katharina Nash there? And the other CCC rider, that's not Maya. Let's see, plate number 20.
Is that Anna?
Yeah, it's Anna Szafranec. Yeah, Anna Szafranec there. So a depth of talent from Poland.
Heather Ermiger's moved up.
And that's her they're going through there, number 17.
Can't see them.
So we'll look for the number. Let's see the number for the Chinese rider, Ren. And we'll keep an eye out for her. I think she started a little bit further back in the field from, let's see, yeah, she was number 47. So as I've always mentioned in commentary, the higher the number that you see towards the front, the better start they've had. And here she is, number 12, Julie Brissett. She finished 14th here 2 years ago, so she's no stranger to the venue. And she's been a twice bronze medalist in World Championships, once as a junior, one as an under-23. You can see quite easily there the gap she's got. That's going to come out to around about 10 seconds or so, even more. So let's see the red colours here. That shot probably Esther Seuss that we'll see come through now in the Swiss national. No, it is Ren, you're right, absolutely. That's a big charge up there by the Chinese rider. She's on the specialised bike, getting serviced by that team here this week. Irena Kalentieva going through in 3rd, and Natalie Schneider, our early leader, going back to 4th, but only 15 seconds off the lead. Pendrell goes through now in 6th, Lechner in 7th, and Katharina Nash in 8th, Ursel in 9th, and Szafranec in 10th, so ahead of her teammate. We'll see where Wojciechowska, the world champion, is. She's a little bit further back. Katie Compton going through in 17th. Got stung by a bee at Sea Otter, and she's anaphylactic with that, and had a a tough time while she was up leading the race and had to pull out. So Gunrita Dahlia going through in 24th, but I haven't seen now Warszawska. She still hasn't come through yet. That's her through now in 27th. So 27th and down by just under a minute. And now we see them go through this feed zone for the first time, getting used. Take on the left-hand side and feed on the right. So there is Julie Bressette, our race leader from France, the under-23 rider who's opted to race in the elite category. The top under-23 riders can choose not to race the under-23 World Cup, a new category for this year. The under-23 is not racing with the elite, but the top 5 in that category get the option. Fully understanding of your position not to ride today. There we can see some elbow-to-elbow action there. That's our world champion, Maja Warszawska, trying to get in and past one of the, looks like one of the Ghost Riders, is it? It's number 38, and it is of the Central High Bike Pro Team. So interesting story there. There is, last year it was the Central Ghost Team, and now Ghost have their own Pro Factory Team, the Ghost Factory Team. Well, the second, third and fourth chasers now can really see. I don't think that gap's really gone out since she came through at the end of the first lap. She had a 13-second lead over Ren, and looks like that gap isn't too much different, maybe gone out to about 15 or 20. But Ren's still in there fighting hard, and she'll be wanting to keep an eye on that gap, because if she doesn't increase it, there's a bit of pressure that they're just that little gap behind you and they can move up at any time. While she's definitely the rider with form, you can see that arch back there makes her quite a distinctive rider to spot when you're spotting riders. Looks like Pendrell now trying to make a bit of a charge on this gap. So she's moved up to second. We've got Ren Cheng-Wan there from China on the Specialized sitting in second, and now moving up, yes, to second. Pendrell won't be too worried about that unless she gets a real gap, but she knows that Ren Cheng-Wan can sometimes come back and forth in the field. But a strong rider. She's won a World Cup in Offenburg, I remember, and she is a very, very talented rider when it comes down to the power and the climbing. Sometimes a little bit, because someone else's error can really bring you undone as well. We've seen that a couple of times already today as they come under the bridge. Well, now Ren Cheng-Wan has really caught up on Julie Bressette on the SR Sun Tour team.
All of a sudden, she looks dangerous to me.
Yeah, she's got that. You can tell by the body posture. She wants to get right up to that lead, and she did it very, very quickly indeed since we last saw them.
She's very, very smooth on the technical section. She's obviously worked on that a lot since the last couple of years.
And straight after the Beijing Olympics, we didn't see much from the Chinese national team, and I think there was a lot to do with the government funding post-Olympics, but with the Olympics coming up just next year, here we are again, seeing them a major force on the World Cup circuit. At least Ren Cheng-Wan is out there. I think there is a second one in the field, but Ren Cheng-Wan has always been the real danger from China. As you say, each rider handles that travel from the USA differently, and it might not be her day-to-day. So Ren Cheng-Wan, plate number 47, the yellow plate there. I'm not quite sure what the yellow plate signifies, because there is no leading team yet. We're at round 1.
I like that Ren is number 47. That's good for me, my first race next year. I won't be starting number 2.
Lene Byberg goes through in position 7. Marie-Hélène Premont sitting in 8th. She wasn't here, like I said, 2 years ago with her studies, but loves this track. When I spoke to the team this morning, she was really looking forward to it. Sabine Spitz moving up from plate 37 to position 9. Schneider holding on to the top 10, but definitely moving back, and Esther Zeus, her compatriot, right there with her at 121 and 125 down. Next one up should be Chauvinist. No, Emily Batty going through now in position 19. And Annie Last, the second of the under-23 riders, going through in 20th place. Georgia Gould still holding down position 21, with Mary McConnell sitting there in 22. Shafranitz goes through for Poland in 23rd, and Ermiger going up into 24th. A new venue of Novo Mesto in Czech Republic, and then Val di Sole, and then we get into the World Championships in Chambéry as we watch Ren Cheng-Wan now, with a gap now of about 40 meters or so over the under-23 rider Julie Bressette from France. And pretty fascinating race, and we've just been joined by Simon Burney, the technical delegate from the UCI, who's responsible for the way the riders get staged, the way the course gets set up, marked, and the start loops and the rain options and all those things that need to go on in the planning of a race. And Simon, we're seeing the return of the Chinese. What official role they have within the factory team as far as support and everything, but you would think after today they'd be pretty mad not to pick her up full time.
I'm sure they would, yeah. I actually thought I'd seen her name on their
yes,
team listing. So,
yes, she's on the team list, but apparently it's done, it's a bit like I'm trying to think of another team where